Evening and happy 2022. I saw this Facebook post tonight that it's got me stopping and thinking a little bit. I'm actually supposed to be working on slides for an upcoming talk I have, but this has been bounced around my head, and until I say something about it, I'm not sure I'm actually going to be able to continue with that. So the post was from a vendor. It's a vendor I know peripherally, right? So we share a couple common spaces. And it seems like you're a super nice guy. I've only talked to him a couple times. But he posted on this Facebook group, and I'm not going to name him or the group. But he's basically advertising that members of his service could now do pen tests for $99. So me and a couple of others almost immediately jumped on the post and were like, that's not a pen test, right? Because there's no possible way for those of us in the industry. There's no possible way that you could possibly do a penetration test or pen test for $99. They're very labor intensive. They do probably make use of some tools to find potential spots to look, right, and to go in depth. And what he's describing seems more like what we would call a vulnerability scan, right? And there's nothing wrong with a vulnerability scan. And actually, a $99 price point for a one-time vulnerability scan for a company is probably not a bad deal for a lot of MSPs. But terminology really matters here. And the reason that is creates confusion in the marketplace, right? We people in the security industry, either totally in or peripherally in, right? We know what the term penetration test or pen test means, right? It means a skilled pen tester that takes the output of a vulnerability scanner, some other information they have, and they attempt to breach the network, right? And there's a number of ways it can be done, right? It can be external. They could get internal access. How much information you give them? There's a bunch of variability there, right? But the fact remains that this is a person doing this, right? And there's no easy or good way to automate it in a way that is meaningful, right? So you could run a vulnerability scanner, that maybe automatically attempted to find some very common footholds it found, right? But there's a lot of things that aren't super easy to automate there, and a lot of other skill that goes into it, right? And not to mention that this can only be done externally, right? Like once we start talking about internal, the world gets a lot trickier. So why does terminology matter here, and why do I care about this? To use a Dave Sobel term there. I care about this for a number of reasons, right? So the first is selfish reason, right? We're not currently selling pen test services. If you came and asked me to do a pen test, I would do it. I'd quote you a rate. It'd be hourly. But even us and me, I don't feel like we have the depth of resources other than myself to actually properly conduct, or regularly, not properly conduct, but regularly conduct pen tests, right? They're very time intensive. They require, again, a high degree of skill to be successful, right? So it's one of those services that, while we can deliver them, and I would deliver them if asked, I'm the only one that can deliver it. And I'm very much in a spot right now where I'm attempting to not sell services that only I can deliver. Now, that being said, I have a couple guys that are very close, right? I got a couple people that work for me that we've been going through it, right? I feel comfortable that, I could put them on it and then, backstop them if they got stuck, right? And when that happens, it likely will be a service that I sell. But what I don't want to do is get in the situation where I have to defend my pen tests that are going to be in the $200 to $300 an hour range against this service that claims for $99 they can do the same thing, right? It's completely an apples and oranges comparison. But it actually matters for a lot more reasons than that. Regulation is coming. Whether we want it to or not, in our industry, regulation is going to be here. I would suggest that we're going to have some amount of regulation in, I'll pick an arbitrary number, 20 states this year, right? I think it'll be a bit before we have it at the federal level for anyone that doesn't do business with the federal government, but there is no denying the fact that regulation is coming. So as providers, our only real hope and only real thing we can do is to try to influence what that regulation looks like. And when we have people tossing around terms that as an industry we've largely defined and then redefining them for marketing purposes, it makes stuff really, really scary to me, right? Like I don't want somebody to go, oh yeah, we can get $99 pen tests. Let's include pen testing inside a regulation, right? Like no one in the industry wants that to happen, right? The businesses that just can't support what an actual pen test looks like, right? So we don't want that to happen. More importantly, we see these insurance forms that come through, and one of them I've seen from time to time are like, do you engage in regular pen testing? And I've seen in some cases requirements for pen testing. I don't think those are terms that the insurer at the small and medium business level, they're not something they're going to deny insurability on, right? Like the reality of it is that pen test engagements, probably on the very, very low end, are $2,500 to $5,000, and on the high end can go much, much larger than that, right? And that's way out of the budget of most small businesses. And I would argue that for most small businesses, it's unnecessary, right? Like if you've got proper MSP that's taking care of you security wise, and you're doing continuous vulnerability scanning, and you're doing other things to limit access, you probably aren't big enough of a target to necessarily require full-on pen tests, especially if you're not running any custom software, right? So what I don't want is insurance companies, people to start checking yes on that box that they have pen testing, right? Because they're buying this $99 pen test thing, and then insurers using that as a reason to, one, either start requiring it, or two, start denying claims, right? If we look at this road, and I know this isn't happening now, but I do know for a fact that insurers look for some reasons to deny claims. I don't want to be in a situation where MSP sees an insurance questionnaire that says, do you pen test your clients? They're like, oh crap, no, I don't. But I saw this ad for this thing for $99 where I can pen test my client. So they buy it. They pen test their client, which is an external vulnerability scan. They check yes on the box. The client is then breached using some sort of known thing with some known lateral movement, maybe, I don't know, MS 1710 or one of the other things that exist that a halfway decent pen tester would have caught, right, with access. And so now the insurance company's doing forensics, and they're like, well, show us these pen test results, and they basically deliver the results of a vulnerability scan. So they deny a claim. So who's liable there? Is the MSP liable for checking the box indicating they were doing pen testing when in reality they were doing vulnerability scanning? I don't know, and I don't want to find out, right? So in the end, that's why, to me, terminology here very much matters. So what's it mean? Like, what do we care about this? Again, as an MSP, my wording to you would be, like, gain knowledge, right? We're in this weird spot in the industry where there seems to be this rush, especially in the security space, to add a million layers and to do everything, and we need one of each thing that is out there. And if you're doing these things just to check boxes, just to say you have them, and you don't understand what it actually is you're buying, don't do it. Right? There's a bunch of resources out there. Like, I know Ingram Micro, who we use, they would tell us never say no to an opportunity. Right? But what they would tell us to do then is, basically partner with somebody to deliver that service. Right? And as an MSP, I would encourage you to do the same. If you can't do work, find somebody that can. Be transparent with your customer that you're outsourcing it. Right? Like, if you absolutely have to, white label it, but like, do something, right? Like, don't go buy a tool just to deliver a service you think a client needs, right? Lead by gaining knowledge. So as an SMB, if you're out there, I have some SMBs in the area that I think watch these things. You should be on the lookout for providers that, say yes to everything, and ask them, how are you delivering this service, right? If you do credit cards and you do PCI, you required to do external vulnerability scans, right? And $99 isn't a bad price for one, but if you have an MSP telling you they can deliver you a pen test and they're not offering you thousands of dollars of cost to do so, you should be asking a lot of questions and seriously looking under the hood of what's actually going on there. Anyways, that's it. I just wanted to get that off my chest while I was thinking about it so I could go back to doing other things I needed to do. Also wanted to try out recording from home here a little bit. I am in the process of trying to make lighting in here a little better. Got a new camera, got a new mic, so that I can do some of these things here at home too. It will be a work in progress over a little bit of time. So thanks. See you later.